A very good afternoon. Happy Easter to you all that are watching UBC televisions. We hope that you have enjoyed service from wherever you have been. And those of you that are still enjoying the holiday, we do wish you a happy holiday. Thank you for joining us for the weekly news roundup edition. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and we're broadcasting live from Nyala Avenue. So without further ado, let's give you the top stories that made news within the week. But of course, before we do that, let's start off with what's happening in the country at the moment. Now, Christians across the world have united in celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, what many refer to as Easter Sunday. Here in Uganda, thousands stormed different churches celebrating the love that Jesus Christ manifested on the cross to bear humanity's sins and later resurrected. UBC TV brought you live coverage at both All Saints Cathedral and Lubaga. At All Saints, the message was clear: bear one another's burden, while at Lubaga, a call for love, just like Christ did, was the main message. And these are some of the highlights of what transpired.
Despise it, but even after his death, that was not the end of the story. Actually, him being the King of Kings, even when he was crucified, this is one mission he did. The death of Jesus is the death of death. And that's the power of the gospel. The death of Jesus is the death of death. Because when he died, he was able to go in the grave. And he was not just redundant. He was busy unlocking and weakening the power of death in the grave. And then he came out triumphantly. And that's why we say today, he is alive. And because
Peter and the beloved disciple find the stone rolled away and the tomb empty and the linen clothes lying there. Dear brothers and sisters, these two accounts remind us of the historical reality of Jesus and his resurrection. It was not a myth, not a mere story, not a mere symbol, but a concrete event that transformed humanity history. Indeed, our Lord and Savior defeated sin and death through his suffering and rising from the dead. Therefore, we too are called to rise to newness of life, leaving behind the old self and embracing the new life offered to us through him. St. Peter, in the second reading you have heard, calls us to set our minds on things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. He challenges us to live as resurrected people, to put to death the old ways of sin and embrace a new way of being in Christ. As followers of Jesus, we are called to clothe ourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another and forgiving one another as the Lord has forgiven us. This compels us to confront and combat the vices that plague our society. The vices were well articulated in the joint statement of the Uganda Joint Christian Council of Good Friday.
Easter is a time of great significance in our faith, marking the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. It is a time of immense joy as we celebrate the victory of life over death, light over darkness, and hope over despair. We thank the Lord that has given us this Easter in particular us as the new leaders to be renewed in faith as we lead the Archdiocese of Kampala.
The Deputy Inspector General of Government, Dr. Patricia Achan, this week called upon the youth to embrace integrity and humility and utilize their professions to establish ethical businesses. Speaking to over 500 youth at the Cornerstone Training Leadership Academy in Nakasongola, Dr. Achan highlighted the pressing need to tackle corruption, which has taken on a new dimension in Uganda, as Justin Nakami reported.
Those principles that guide your actions.
In a mentorship Easter retreat at Cornerstone Training Leadership Institute in Nakasongola, Dr. Patricia Achan, Deputy Inspector General of Government, emphasized the crucial role of integrity in fighting corruption and building a prosperous nation.
Corruption is sin. If we appreciate the reason for the season, then we desist from corruption. I encourage Ugandans out there to pass a message of hope to people and say together we can do it. If we can come out and report cases of corruption, if we can come out and clean our spaces of corruption, then we are going to have a different country.
She stressed the importance of youth harnessing their skills and professions to contribute to the development of ethical businesses, thus promoting transparency and accountability in society.
If as a lawyer I'm out there and I'm articulating these values of integrity, walking the talk and preaching this and demonstrating it by my work, everybody will see and know that Patricia is truthful, Patricia is honest, Patricia is upholding integrity. So I'm trying to let these children know that it is very, very important. The significance of values is far-reaching. I emphasize mainly humility, because there are people who, when they get to law school, they are taken up by pride, or they graduate, they think they have arrived, and yet the world has a lot to offer out there.
As Easter approaches, Dr. Achan urges Christians to focus on Jesus as the reason for the season.
The cross of Christ reminds us of the work of Christ on our behalf. It reminds us of the price he paid for our redemption as Christians. Whether we wear it for a show, whether we display it as fetish, or just think about it, the cross should draw us nearer to the one who hung on it. So I urge all Ugandans to focus on Christ, because he has the ultimate message. He is the reason why we are celebrating Easter.
The director of Cornerstone Schools highlights how such retreats instill principles and values in students, benefiting them not only in school but also in their future workplaces.
The aspect of integrity is just trying to bring up young people to just go into the systems wherever life takes them and just be the light and the salt in those systems to make a difference and try and bring down the levels of corruption that are really hurting the development of our countries.
Several alumni from this institute who have attended these retreats testify about their positive experiences.
Life is not just really being successful. Life is not just, amassing wealth. Life is about impacting your neighbor, living your life for other people, impacting your family, but also to build for your soul when you return to God. So these retreats usually help us to reconnect with people that share the same values with us. That's integrity, living for each other, leadership.
Such Easter retreats are organized for these youths annually. Justin Nakami and Susan Nabugude, UBC News.
And more from this week, State Minister for Lands Dr. Sam Mayanja ordered Chikube DPC and RDC to arrest Pastor Stephen Chebambe of Gospel Center Church Kawala for grabbing 60 acres of land, damaging crops, misusing government arms and torturing a 93-year-old man, Anatoli Mugulusi. The arrest order followed a tour over the said land located at Kakunjiro, Chinogozi, Chikube district.
Residents gathered at the remaining houses on a piece of land left from Mzee Anatoli Mugulusi Bijireitima at Kakungiro, Chinogozi in Chikube district to welcome State Minister for Lands Dr. Sam Mayanja. Mzee Anatoli Mugulusi Bijiraitima explained about the land he says he has owned for more than 50 years.
Nyowe nkaika mu government nkaikiyusa uwakaikanka katurole nuntandika kulibata nalibasere ngenzero mu office mu koti bangambaga ngwe kibanja kya Kyebambe ati nkakondoma ayanywago tuta kinywa mata weza yente kuhinda ente zaye zona zili nembuzi zigambaho kwijihanu babima.
The minister was given a tour of the said land where he found various items such as banana plantations, goats, cows and sheep among others. He was shown a piece of rock where Pastor Stephen Chebambe says the Omukama of Bunyoro Kabalega used to play games.
Man came claiming that the Omukama of Bunyoro gave him this land. Actually gave him to come and look after the cultural sites of this land. And the cultural site he was talking about is this Mweso, this one you see. So if you had come to look after the cultural site, you should have taken only this rock and left the old man.
After visiting the area, the minister ordered both the RDC of Chikube and the DPC to immediately arrest Pastor Stephen Chebambe for using force to grab Mzee's land as well as damaging his property.
In accordance with the law, and I've cited the law under which Chebambe can be arrested: criminal trespass, forceful entry, malicious damage to property, threatening violence, all these. In fact, I've added misuse of government stores because it is possible because he came here with armed men.
Minister Mayanja said Pastor Chebambe used fraud to obtain the title deed and hence ordered for its cancellation.
We shall help him to initiate a process with the Uganda Land with the Commissioner of Land Registration to cancel that title which was illegally given to Chebambe, to Pastor Chebambe.
Chikube RDC Imran Tumusime promised to heed to the minister's orders.
Until I make sure that I have done exactly what the president sent me to do. This old man here, 93 years old, he is the rightful owner of this land. But Pastor Stephen Chebambe is using some of the top officials in Kampala, in police, to deny justice to this man.
Benon Mukwaya, Jamil Sekaja, UBC.
The first cohort of individuals who received funds through the Parish Development Model, PDM, in Kwania District is now witnessing significant benefits. Their strategic utilization of these funds has led to remarkable outcomes. PDM's focal point person for Kwania District, Catherine Akelo, attributes these success stories to dedication and thoughtful selection of enterprises by the intended beneficiaries.
In the financial year 2022-2023, Kwania District was allocated a substantial sum of 4.9 billion Ugandan shillings, specifically for implementing the parish development model.
So far, we have disbursed 100% to all our beneficiaries, and we gave out this money to 5,314 beneficiaries. Women took a larger share of the money. We gave them around 2.8 billion, and on average, most of them have utilized the fund as per the business plan.
Pascal Obuto, a recipient of 1 million shillings, strategically reinvested in fish farming, a venture he was already familiar with.
So I choose fish farming because it is highly maturing, and then there is high demand for fish meal. So that's why I went, and before I tried to raise fish sometimes back, and I saw there was high profit in it.
His anticipation is high, expecting a remarkable income return of 8 million shillings.
Because I want now for it, I will be selling when it in October. I would expect at least 4,000. That is about to 8 million, 7 to 8 million. When it has reached at least a size that I can sell each at 4,000 plus.
John Pius Onyonyi, another recipient of 1 million Ugandan shillings, made a strategic decision by investing in maize farming.
Planted maize in 3 acres, and because of I also put some little money that I had to just boost that 1 million. I managed to buy quality seeds, that is DK 777, and I managed to get 45 bags.
His diligent efforts on a 3-acre plot of land have yielded positive results and now anticipates earning 4.5 million shillings, resulting in a profit of 3 million shillings from the initial investment.
Okay, it depends. Others shoots up to 122 kilograms, others 110, others 115. So if you get 115, that one you multiply times 1,500 per kilogram. So the amount you get is the amount per sack. Around 120, 130, 140 there.
Onyonyi and Obuto wisely invested in maize and fish farming, while others who failed to select optimal enterprises found themselves squandering their funds.
In my assessment, I realized most of the beneficiaries use the money not for the enterprises they had chosen. Many of them have bought mattresses. Many of them have bought woofers, the youth. Many of them have drunk the money.
Parish Development Model is a government-led initiative in Uganda aimed at transforming subsistence households into the money economy.
You go to bars and then you start drinking that money. It is for your development. HE doesn't want to leave anyone behind. So when you get the money, you know that you have to account for it in the trade that you are supposed to do.
This remarkable achievement came to light during the local community accountability meeting known as Baraza, held by the Office of the Prime Minister in Aduk Town Council, Kwania District. Joseph Okow, UBC.
State Minister for Higher Education, John Chrysostom Muyingo, has tasked religious leaders in Elgon region to preach to believers the gospel of technical vocational education and training if the country is to produce job creators. In his message delivered by Dr. Eddie Turiatemba, Assistant Commissioner in charge of vocational education and training in the Ministry of Education and Sports, during the 10th graduation of Uganda's Technical College, Elgon, Minister Muyingo also urged the locals in the region to emulate Jesus Christ, who he said was a carpenter and a true TVET person.
Ceremony at Uganda Technical College, Elgon, in Mbale City, started with an assessment tour around the new government-funded workshops at the college.
The corners should be so square, and what they are doing is dry bonding.
During the graduation, where 743 students graduated, State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, called upon religious leaders to spread the gospel of TVET to believers while conducting prayers in churches and mosques.
Jesus, whom you believe so much, was a carpenter. Was a tea technician. He was a TVET person. So, reverends, catechists, whoever who is a Christian, why don't you embrace TVET?
In his message delivered by Dr. Eddie Turiatemba, Assistant Commissioner in charge of vocational education and training in the Ministry of Education and Sports, Minister Muyingo underscored that TVET is the only answer to creating jobs and curbing unemployment in the country.
It is the only gospel that is going to help Ugandans come from the scourge of unemployment.
Meanwhile, Dr. Nahamia Godfrey, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer, UBUTEB, in charge of examinations, called upon the college management to expedite the college curriculum review program for effective training of the learners.
Once a curriculum has gone beyond 5 years, you need to put in a lot of effort so that this curriculum is revised.
The college principal, Oluge Christopher Ochom, expressed the need to enroll more staff on the government payroll for effective services at the college.
Out of the 115, the staff members who are government payroll, they are 52 in number. It therefore calls for more teachers added. Therefore, such a growing population can be successfully.
The students, accompanied by their parents, expressed happiness upon attaining success in their academics.
Just come to prove to you that educating a girl child is equally to educating a boy child. I can't just stop here because I need to achieve greater things.
I've gained skills, competent skills in motor vehicle repairs.
Katonda mulungi kubanga omwana ono awangudde ku famire ye waffe gye banzaala teri yali atikiddwa ne ku famire ye yasoose bannange.
Founded in 1931 to train First World War veterans in technical skills, Uganda Technical College, Elgon, has skilled a number of Ugandans that are creating jobs in the country.
And in more news, Workers' Union have urged the government to quicken the process of expediting the minimum wage bill, which was passed by Parliament in a bid to protect the workers' rights. This was revealed during the annual Delegates Conference for the Central Organization of Free Trade Unions held here in Kampala, where a joint inspection of industries and other sectors by the Ministry of Labour and Workers' Union was also proposed.
The Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Among, has urged union leaders to fight for workers' rights for equitable and sustainable good working environment. During her address at the annual delegations conference for the Central Organization of Free Trade Unions.
Because the history of trade union is anchored on confronting government, confronting companies, confronting employers.
The minister was concerned with the continuous exploitation of workers. The minister, together with workers' unions, are set to have a joint tour to different manufacturing industries and other sectors to address the existing gaps for workers' rights and assess their working conditions.
When we come and have one voice and move together to those industrial parks, I want to find a day where the Secretary General not to cough to, the Chairman General cough to not to comes to me and say, we want to have a joint tour. So that when we reach there, they will not say, I'm waiting for the minister.
It includes things like where people, workers have accidents and other problems in terms of the environment. So we shall be looking at all these other standards of work, whether the ILO conventions are met and the standards are upheld.
Asking all employers in Uganda to embrace and welcome unions. Even we were telling the minister that those workplaces that have denied us entry, we have already written to the ministry so that they should what? They should follow up what the reason, because we're even in the process of taking them to court. We have a court for the industrial court for the workers.
Union leaders also appeal to government to quicken the process of expediting the minimum wage bill, which was passed by Parliament.
Minimum wage is necessary. You must help as government on how someone can start negotiating. If you have more skills to negotiate for higher salary, but let's have a minimum set by government.
The Central Organization of Free Trade Unions, COF2, was founded in 2003 to advance, protect, promote and defend the social and economic interests of workers in Uganda. Sada Mubale, Clement Wangira, UBC News.
Ministry of Health included buprenorphine treatment as one of the essential drugs that can only be accessed and administered at Butabika National Referral Mental Hospital for proper management till guidelines are out for its rollout in health facilities countrywide. This was revealed by Dr. Hafsa Lukwata, Assistant Commissioner for Mental Health and Control of Substance Abuse, Ministry of Health, at Dissemination Workshop on the integration of buprenorphine into a combination harm reduction intervention for people who inject drugs in Kampala.
The use of alcohol and other substances during adolescence and early adulthood has become a serious public health problem in Uganda, and the global burden of disease by the World Health Organization projected that tobacco, alcohol and illicit drugs were the leading cause of mortality globally. It is against this backdrop that Makerere University School of Public Health, in collaboration with the Uganda Harm Reduction Network and the Medical College of Wisconsin, engaged in implementation of a 4-year research study entitled Integration of Buprenorphine into a combination of harm reduction intervention for people who inject drugs in Kampala.
As a country, we have included buprenorphine on the essential medicines list, but only at the National Referral Hospital, and that is Mutabika. There are many medicines that we use in mental health or to care for people with mental disorders, and we place them at different levels depending on the human resource there, on the infrastructure, and the ability to follow up and so on. So
last year we conducted a modes of transmission study. There are many results that came out of that modes of transmission study. But for example, the HIV incidence among women who inject drugs was 175 persons per 1,000 population. This against the national average of 2.4 persons per 1,000 population, and against our target of bringing it down to less than 2 persons per 1,000 population. So the problem is huge. The incidence of HIV is higher amongst the female drug users as compared to their male counterparts.
The use of alcohol and other substances during adolescence and early adulthood has become a serious public health problem in Uganda. The World Health Organization projected that tobacco, alcohol and illicit... Ewan Joshua Musamali, a software developer, is one of the few people who have benefited from buprenorphine treatment and has been off drugs for close to a year. Musamali says that he started abusing drugs during his senior 6 vacation and escalated during COVID-19 and his campus days.
2022 I was using, then 2023 early. That's when everything gets too crazy. Now in the ghetto down there, our friends were dying. Like, you can imagine your close friend dying. Like, I lost over 4 friends in drug life, and I'm like, what are we chasing for in life? Is it really are we chasing drugs for life really, or we have ambitions? Like, what did God give us to do on this world? Like, what is our mission on this world? And then I had to step up. I'm like, this is not right. I have to man up and do what's really necessary. And
Musamali advised fellow youths to desist from drugs and concentrate on their studies or other useful skills that can help them in the future.
Whoever is producing or making the drugs or something, they're trying to keep us down. But we are a serious weapon in the future there. So if at all one can avoid the drug use in life, that's all. You can achieve whatever you want if at all you keep the drugs low.
Twaibu Wamala, the executive director of Uganda Harm Reduction Network, noted that the primary objective of the project was to develop a pilot combination of HIV prevention intervention and also contribute to enhancing harm reduction strategies and programming for individuals who use drugs in the country.
And this research was giving alternative treatment for people who use drugs. So we have been having treatments, MAT treatment center at Butabika, but it was only focusing on high-burden drug users. So that means that people who are not high-burdened could not benefit from the treatment in Butabika. So in
most of our people were facing challenges of accessing that distance from where they stay to Butabika is quite long. It's very costly. As much as the medication is free, but it's costly for them to access the service. And that's when we were presented with the opportunity of integrating this treatment into the drop-in center. We welcomed it. This started in 2022. So we're trying to understand how feasible is it to have this treatment being received from the community, giving people take-home doses to manage themselves without worries of overdose, without worries of diversion, but with the main goal of reducing the harms that are in between their journey of recovery.
Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
The coordinator of Patriotic League of Uganda, Basaliza Mutegeki, has appreciated the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for appointing General Muhoozi Kainerugaba to the position of Chief of Defence Forces. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba assumed office of the CDF on 28th of March 2024, replacing General Wilson Basu Mbadi at a ceremony held in Gulu District.
By President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, former Chief of Defence Forces General Wilson Mbadi was appointed Minister of State for Trade. Subsequently, the Fountain of Honor appointed General Muhoozi Kainerugaba to the position of CDF. It is against this backdrop that the Patriotic League of Uganda has appreciated President Museveni for considering some of their leadership as ministers to serve the country. Henry Basaliza Mutegechi is the Patriotic League coordinator of Toro.
Let me take this opportunity to sincerely thank the appointing authority, His Excellency the President, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for giving the youth of Uganda an opportunity to serve in his government, for giving the young people an opportunity to serve the NRM government. We cannot take this opportunity for granted.
Basaliza says that these appointments by the President show trust and confidence in the PLU leadership. He congratulated them upon reaching such a milestone.
For me, as PLU, I would like to add a voice and say that we are now stronger than ever before. The appointment of our loyal cadres is a clear indication that PLO is the answer. And the appointment of our chairman as well shows us that we are moving in the right direction.
While swearing in the newly appointed ministers at State House Entebbe, the President urged them to fight corruption. This is the same call from PLU to its ministers, among them Balambaro Gahara Atenyi.
Fight corruption. Because corruption is the big it's a distorter. It's stealing government money, giving the wrong contracts. This undermines a lot of effort.
For us as PLOU, one, we expect that they go and represent us well, present our values well. One is that we are fighting corruption. We don't expect any of those ministers to engage in corruption. We shall disassociate ourselves from any acts that misrepresent us. That one won't tolerate. So, and actually I think even Dr. Balam in his media briefing, he said he will not be corrupt and he will not tolerate corruption. Certainly, we expect those people who are from PLOU to go and defend us.
Basaliza explains what is left for PLU after the group chairman General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's latest assignment.
We should not give up. Let's not listen to people's words, because out there are a lot of words. I think after these appointments I've heard in the corridors, PLU has now been dissolved, and the appointment of the general is a clear indication that PLU is no more. No, we are saying no. PLU, if it was a political party or something, we're not a political party. For us, we're a civic organization. So it is a civic organization registered under the laws of Uganda. So we are still in existence.
Tanaba Kenneth, UBC.
And in more news from the week, Dr. Noor Nachiwunga, a gynecologist, has emphasized the need for both men and women to undergo comprehensive assessments for infertility to reduce misconceptions and stigmas around reproductive health issues. Dr. Nachiwunga made these remarks at an iftar dinner organized by the Islamic Medical Association members of Kampala branch at Hotel Africana.
As women age, their ability to conceive may diminish, prompting the need for a closer look at fertility concerns, particularly for those over 35. Dr. Noor Nachiwunga, a gynecologist, says there can be a decline in both the quality and quantity of their eggs, making consumption more challenging.
So that's why the young girls actually are very fertile. Between 20 to 24 years of age, they are very fertile. And then fertility kind of reduces up to 30 to 32 years, and then it rapidly decreases after 40 years. That's why it's a bit hard for a lady to conceive after they've made 40 years of age. So I encourage the young ladies here to at least have their babies before they make 40 years of age. Otherwise, when you reach 40 years of age, you'll be bumping into us so often because of the issues of infertility.
Infertility is not solely a female concern. Approximately 10 to 15% of reproductive age couples experience infertility, with male factors contributing in a significant portion of cases.
They could be unexplained. Sometimes you cannot explain what is causing infertility right away. Sometimes it's the cervix and it's having issues. It could be coital problems. Sometimes it's the male factor. But what happens is most of the times the males blame the women. Every time the couple is not conceiving, the man is very annoyed. That my girl, how come you're not giving me any children? Not knowing that they also partially contribute to childbirth.
The iftar dinner was a celebration of unity, gratitude, and a platform for fostering socialization within the Islamic medical community.
Our organization is called Islamic Medical Association of Uganda, but one of our activities is to ensure we have Islamic medical socialization, where we get our members to work together to organize events where they can know each other and socialize.
Professor Majid Kajimu emphasized the significance of unity within the multiple branches of IMAU, highlighting the indispensable role played by each member and partner.
This is an example to all our IMAU branches that they can organize activities for their members and the communities around to be able to show that they are valuable members of the community, especially in the health sector.
He emphasized the need for collaboration with other stakeholders, including governmental bodies, industry professionals, and community leaders to address pertinent health issues such as cancer. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Minister for Water and Environment, Sam Cheptoris, has urged Ugandans in Elgon sub-region to prepare their gardens ahead of the anticipated rains in order for them to ensure food security and fight poverty in their households by selling the surplus. Mr. Cheptoris was speaking during the consecration of Bishop Soekwo Tom Godwin, of the overseer of Elgon region of the National Fellowship of Born-Again Pentecostal Churches, held at Boma Grounds, Kapchora. He further urged religious leaders to also focus on welfare of followers in addition to spiritual development.
And it's important that they start preparing their gardens. You know, Sebei is an agricultural area, and the rains normally, when they have not delayed, come in the mid. In fact, they should have come now. They should have come. I'm told that last week the rains were here. They have just somehow subsided, but they are likely to come back as quickly as possible. Even God expects you to ensure that you lead a quality life. You were created in the image of God, I don't think God would really tolerate extremely poor people. He gave you the hands, he gave you the energy, he gave you the brain. As a Christian, really, you must ensure that you work very hard.
God forgives us. God forgives us. So that is why we are required to forgive. Because God forgives us and is in the business of forgiving all of us. So basing on that, you don't have any reason why you cannot accept forgive someone who has hurt your life.
It's a beginning of a new journey. And even as I do my duties and assignments at calling ministry, to me it's from today where I feel like I have a new assignment and role in the kingdom of God. The unity of the body of Christ and fellowship. And then the other one is the Great Commission.
Public servants in the country have been advised to always prepare themselves for retirement to enable them avoid regret. The submission was made by Mubende District LC5 Chairman Ntambi Michael, who advised tangible ideas to be used by workers to secure their future.
Retire at the age of 60, and some join the private sector. However, most of them face challenges after retirement because they did not prepare themselves when still in active service. The chairman, LC5 Mubende District, Ntambi Michael, has advised public servants to always prepare themselves for retirement in order to avoid the socio-economic shocks that come with it. This was at the farewell ceremony for former Chief Administrative Officer Tumusime Leonard, who retired from active service, and also welcomed the new Chief Administrative Officer Rohweza Peter at Hotel Panorama in Mubende Municipality.
Nga humanitarian entetu banga tukwatagana bulungi nnyo na district. District ye Mubende yemu ku district gye twakakola nayo MOU nga tugenda okubanga tu implementing services zaffe mu district. Mungu okuyambako abavubuka okumanya obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe, okuyambako amaka okubanga gakendeeza okumenyekamenyeka. Twagala okutandikawo omugigi oguyambako abantu abamanya obuvunaanyizibwa bw'amaka.
The function also coincided with the district welcoming development partners from Classic African Association. The function also coincided with the district welcoming development partners from Classic African Organization that are sensitizing communities on government programs. The outgoing Chief Administrative Officer, Tumusime Leonard, had this to say regarding achievements registered during his tenure in office.
The people of Mubende, as I said, Mubende is bigger than any one of us. Let's have the image. Let's have the mission, let's have the attitude of developing Mubende as people of Mubende. Let's take the interests of the district at heart and let them prevail over our personal interests.
The civil servants, if you want to be my good friends, do your work. If you do your work, I don't have any issue with Cow's office. You never hear me. But if you don't perform, then we must demand output out of you. That's why you are at that office. It is actually an obligation, it is not a request.
The new Chief Administrative Officer Mubende, Mr. Rohweza Peter, promised to pick the thread from where his predecessor left. Also in attendance here were the Deputy Chairperson of Chief Administrative Officers in the country, Jude Makbu Kenya.
Mr. Tumusime, thank you very much for promoting Mr. Sari. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. At least now there is a green light. Mr. Sari, after 3 years you deputy car. I assure you on that.
Benon Mokwaya, Salongo Kasibante, Mubende District.
Community Development and Probation Officers from Busoga Sub-Region have decried the increasing cases of child abuse in their areas of jurisdiction. Which has affected the well-being of the children in communities. We have a detailed report.
Workshop for probation and community development officers in Jinja, organized by the National Children Authority. The local officials decried the increasing cases of child abuse, attributing it to lack of policy to punish the offenders.
As a whole. So for the holistic development of a child, we need all government programs to support these children. Therefore, we thank you so much, National Children Authority, for the great chance of empowering the youth, the CDOs and technical staff, and to know the relevancy of ordinances and bylaws in their respective jurisdictions.
In this training, the National Children Authority trained government officials in Busoga on how to implement the children policy in order to protect them.
Community development officers at the lower local government level, you have a mandate in enhancing and promoting child protection programs.
Choli George, on behalf of Jinja City, appreciated the government for coming up with such a policy and the National Children Authority.
All government programs ensure that the children's well-being is catered for in all their programs. And we have said that we have very good laws. There's the National Child Policy, which must be implemented by us.
Amidst the discussions, it was observed that most districts in Busoga have subjected children to work in sugarcane plantations during school times.
In Busoga, you know very well that we have got a challenge of sugarcane growing, and you find that these children normally go to for sugarcane cutting in the sugarcane plantations, and we have been having no way of handling them, or rather bring them to order. But
Martin Kiza, the Executive Director, National Children Authority, appeals to local government officials and politicians in Busoga to promote the well-being of children.
We have now a new Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, Honorable Baram Barugahara. We need to support him really, because he has that love for children, for the youth. So community development officers out there, come up, stakeholders come up. Let us join hands in supporting the minister, in supporting the government, in ensuring that children issues pertaining particularly child well-being issues are upheld and supported. So all together we must work and ensure that issues of children are given that maximum attention.
According to statistics, over 2 million children under the age of 18 are trapped into child labor, something that violates their rights and freedoms.
And in more news from this week, preparations for the Alur Cultural Festival to be held today, on Sunday, at the Uganda Museum in Kampala have been finalized. The event, to be graced by the Alur King, is meant to promote and preserve the rich culture for generations to come. The organizers of the cultural festival say that the proceeds of the event will go to the kingdom in order to support the girl child.
This year festival, the 7th edition, is organized in line of our theme, that is celebrating Alur cultural heart and promoting girl child. So as you can see already, everything is set. The participants have come from Zombo, the Bagalagata. They are all set here, and with my members of the press and also the team around this. Our members have been from Pakwash. So we have a very good team for this year's performance, and our guest will be His Royal Majesty Rauni Olakir III, who is the King of Alur Kingdom, who will be also available for tomorrow's event.
These are brothers from Jopajalagata. They have come here to perform traditional activities, starting from Ndara, like you see in the background there. We have the Agwara troupe that are going to, they're already here, they are going to do Agwara. We are going to do what is called Rigi Rigi, Dongo dance. We are going to do a Dungo dance tomorrow. We are going to have a special group of women coming from Pakwash that are going to demonstrate how to cook food, the local food called Angira. We are going to have a group of women coming from Pakwash to come and vent for us Nang Nang, Angara, Pedo, all the way from Pakwash. So we expect a lot of activities tomorrow, like I've mentioned.
And in more news, Liantonde District held a week-long training program on patriotism in response to President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's directive to develop and coordinate patriotism clubs in schools nationwide. A detailed report.
We have said we are running the person who started the program, okay? Thank you so much.
Our president directed in 2009 that patriotism ideology should be inculcated into the younger generation in order to inculcate norms and values for these younger people, because the future holds a lot of stuff for them. Remember, they are about 72% of the population. And from 10 and section 29, Roman 29. Because as we know, patriotism has values like time management, which is crucial even as they study. The love for their country is crucial. The fear of God, all these, we need them. We need them to be part of their character building. As you know, it's not just about sensitizing here, but even raising flags, singing anthems, making them to understand the importance of the East African community requirements of Pan-Africanism.
Let's now take a short commercial break and come back with the sports news.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hustle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Ebiseera by'okuzzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanyi kuzunga na banka siripsi? Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyezi *165*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erungamizibwa banka enkulu eya Uganda.
Welcome back. You're still watching the news roundup edition of the UBC News. Now, in sports, the Stanbic Uganda Golf Club Marathon, or should I say the Stanbic Uganda Golf Club monthly mug for the month of March, held yesterday at the Uganda Golf Course, was a kickstart of the Easter festivities. Over 400 golfers took part in this amateur tournament. Drani Bob with 68 net was the overall winner for the long event on the par 72 course, and he received a mug and a voucher. Other winners who got mugs were Israel Arinaitwe, Mutesi Lydia, Tashobia Susan, Garjet Sign, and others, all receiving mugs. This is the second monthly mug for Uganda Golf Course under the new captain Rukundo.
The mug of mugs in the history of golf.
It is the bread and butter of any amateur golf club worldwide. Why do I say this? It's the only competition that you play 12 times in, actually 13 times, because you have the 12 mugs for the 12 months, then there is what they call a mug of mugs. All the winners come together to find out who was the overall winner of the mug of mugs. So the whole world knows that the monthly mug is the bread and butter of any club in terms of revenue, in terms of the game of golf, and in terms of the social side of the golf clubs. It is the thing that actually motivates most of the amateur golfers. Imagine this one, every month you have it, so everybody is motivated. And if you have never won a monthly mug, you don't talk among golfers that you have achieved much.
At Stanbic, we say Uganda is our home, we drive its growth. You can even say golf is our sport, we drive its growth in Uganda as well. So when I think about the work we do in Uganda and the support we give to the game of golf, it is to grow it to the next level.
It was fantastic to see all of you on the course today. I know many had some other commitments, but I thank all of you for staying behind. A very special thanks to Stanbic Bank, our sponsor. Their generous sponsorship is what makes this prestigious monthly mug very possible.
And more in sports, hundreds have gathered at St. Joseph College, Laibi for the second edition of the Laibi College Marathon Saturday morning, running for prestige. Competing in the 5 and 10 kilometers round, Gulu City with a clear message of rejuvenating the once powerful school in the northern region.
To the whole community of from Gulu, northern Uganda, and Uganda as a whole. In a nutshell, Laibi all students are the critical mass of transforming education in the region. We are the critical mass. So we are appealing to everyone in the region, in the country, to join hands so that we find, one, the best way of improving the standard of not only Laibi but other schools. If others, all students can copy, that would be better for us. So that's what we are trying to look at.
And Laibi College is a school where I first started my teaching. Immediately I qualify. So it's my first school. I want to always associate myself with activities to improve on these old schools, which were performing very, very well those days in the 80s, even in the 70s. Laibi College was one of the best schools in the country. And you all know about Pongduo, Goreme Pongduo. Goreme Pongduo actually prioritized education as one of the issues to be addressed. So Lakoba is on track, is doing a wonderful thing.
The marathon here, we want to crystallize it to help to generate income for purpose of scholarship scheme. We are going to create Lakoba bursary, which we want to pay many vulnerable students who will come out of this sub-region, so that we put. It is not only actually sub-region, we are looking western, the entire Uganda. And we believe that this marathon is an annual event which is going to be there. We are building it. This is our second time. We believe that it will be great.
And that brings us to the end of the weekly news roundup edition of the UBC News. Thank you for being a lovely audience, and we do hope that you are digging in right into those pieces of chicken this Easter. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and have yourselves a lovely one.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Dr. Deep aims to address the negative impacts of hosting refugees by improving access to basic economic and social services, enhancing good environmental management practices, and expanding income earning opportunities